guys, Victoria here for Tonic Studios. And today I'm going to be sharing with you a fantastic die set. It's an A5 die set and it's called Canvas Couture. And as you can imagine, by looking at the shape of it, we're going to be making a bag. Now I will share some samples with you later on in the video. I'm just going to turn this round so that we can have a good look at this set, and I'll guide you through some of the dies in the set. So you can see here, this is your main panel. So you're going to need to cut, from the instructions it says 3. Now I have made mine out of the Craft Perfect 216 GSM, and I've actually used 4 of these, and it's a really sturdy bag. So I'm going to say leave that up to you, dependent on what cardstock you want to use. If you're using a heavier weight than cardstock, then obviously less layers, but you will be adding probably some little magnets here and there. So I think the idea behind that is using some more layers to cover those magnets, and all will become clear. Okay. So this die here, this is your side panel, so you'll need to cut 2 of these, okay? And then the base of the bag is this die here, and you'll need to cut 2 of these. And as you'll see in the die, there's a little marker there, and that leaves a little indent in the cardstock where you need to line things up, okay? For the base of the bag, like I said, you'll need 2 of these, and one of them we're going to cut off this glue section here, but just on one of them. This die here, you will need 2 of these for the sides at the top of the bag. And then this one, you will need 1 of these for the top of the bag. Now if you are using Craft Perfect and you are covering it with paper, then I suggest cutting 2, one with your paper, cut the glue tab off, and then one with your cardstock. You have a lovely stitched effect die here that leaves a stitched effect inside this die. It's not a cutting die, this one, and it just leaves that lovely stitched edge, so you can have it with or without. You then have a layer die there for the top of your bag, and this die here, I'm going to say, is probably going to be your most used die in the whole set, because you have lots of belts and buckles for decoration for this. So 2 of these glued together will create a handle. So what you would do is you would have 2 of these, glue here, and then put one over the other here, and that, if you bend them up then from each end and then shape this once it's glued, then this will become your handle. Okay. Now if you're wanting to make buckles and straps, then there's lots of different ways you can do that. So here I have one completed. We've glued one over the other like I've just shown you, and then we've cut this lovely buckle effect here and the little holes like you would have on a strap, and then these little decorative pieces here are also in the die set. Okay, so this die here makes your holes here, and then this buckle is here. We also have like another buckle where we could attach 2 pieces together, and I'll show you here. So like I said to you before, you can you'll be using this die the most. Okay, so I've used this die here with some pattern papers, and this set does come with some pattern papers, and I will show you those in a moment. And then I've just cut one of those out for each side, and we've brought it through and cut it from the back, and we've glued it. So this is like a little bottle effect on the side of the bag. And of course, to match it here with a little washer, we've cut that little washer out there. Now this die here does also cut a little washer out the center as well, so you've got that. So that's how that works. Okay, so that's a nice little decorative element there for the side. And all you would do is you would cut one of those dies. Like I said to you before, it's going to be the most used die in the set, so that's how it cuts out. And then we would feed this through the little slot there, and then we cut that short and then trim that off, and there's our other little buckle. Okay, so that's how that works. You'll see two dies here. These are little, I want to call them for your little pockets basically. So you're going to see those. So you've got mountain and valley folds for those. So the middle section would be a valley, and then your two outer would be mountain folds. And you've got a left and a right there. So, you know, I'm going to show you different things. Now, this die here, there's lots. It might be a small set, but there is quite a bit to it. So this die here will cut you out a section like this. It'll cut you out a solid section with a glue tab like this one. And then I've gone and I've cut the detail out here. So we've ended up with a beautiful piece like this. Now I'm going to line the inside of that with craft card. That's personal choice. And then those little things that I've just said to you will act as a little pocket. Okay, so we also have this die here. So this one here, if Vicky can poke it out, that's that one there. Okay, so it will end up making something like this to go on the side of your bag. And I've put a little magnet in there so that it closes, and decorated it with another little decorative piece that's in the set. So we also have in here, let Vicky find it, the little loop to make that decorative loop, and then this, which could be a badge for the front of your bag, or looped over can be a little tag for your pocket there. Okay, so that covers that one. All right, so we'll put that away. Now this little die here and this little die here, if you remember the Wellington boot we had a washer. This will be your string that you have that goes around the top of your rucksack. So we have those. So that's how they would go at the side of the bag. And then we've got some for the front of the bag also. There's some other little dies in there as well, and I will show you that as well. There's this tiny little die here. See that one? And that adds like a little bead, so that when we've done this tassel on the front of the bag, I would bring this so that one goes out and the other goes out like that. That's it. And then this would go over the top, this little piece. Also a little die in the set. That would attach up to the top there. And then these are your little beads that would dangle, like your little knots that would dangle down at the bottom. Let's put that there so you can get an eye. So can you see how that would look then on the front of your bag? Okay. All will become clear, like I say. Now you've got a zip there that is a deboss zip, and you have a zip that cuts all the pieces. You have two different fastenings for the zip, a more square one and a rounded one. So you've got your little zips there. This is just a decorative little plaque at the top. As you can see here, you have a buckle, and this buckle can work like this, or it can also work like we had here. Okay, so how you would do that, let me bring in a piece. I'll cover this now, and then, so what I tend to do is cut one out of a base card and then cut another with the mirror. But if I wanted to add that little buckle piece, you know, the little prong, I would glue the straight piece onto that middle strut like so, and then I would go over the top with a mirror. Obviously this piece isn't going to be stuck down, the little T piece, just the long, just that long piece would be stuck down there. Don't glue this piece, and then you can come in and slide that under there and over the top, and then when you come in with your piece here, you can then slide it in and out of whatever hole you want that to be in. So if you wanted it up there, you could have it up there. If you wanted it down there, you can have it down there, and then that would glue onto there. Now these are all functioning, so if you wanted to have it so the strap went through the buckle, and then it looped through the bottom and pulled back up through the top, you can do that also. There is a little die, if I can find it. I did cut it out earlier, but Vicky, best laid plans, it is somewhere. It's probably right in front of me, but I can't see it for the trees. No, but it's this little buckle strap here, and basically you cut that out, and it has little score lines in it here, and it folds over to be a little strap to hold your waste paper through and back down again. And I've done that on one of the bags, so I will show you. Vicky normally has everything cut out in front of her, and I have cut everything, but it's just disappeared on me at this moment in time. So this die here you will need 2, and this die here you will need 2, and these are obviously fasteners to hold bits and pieces together, which I will show you in a moment. You've also got a star and a little heart there, and then these pieces here, you'll need this one and its counterpart here. Let me take that one off the sheet. So many pieces. And as you can see, one has the glue tabs here, so one will go over the other and create a flap. Now that flap I will show you now, and then we can put it all together. So this is the lid. Let's move that bead before we lose it. So there's the glue tab there. Okay, so you'll cut one of those, and then you'll cut another one, and you glue that, cut that glue tab off, so it just looks like a rectangle. Okay, and then you're going to glue one to the other to make a pocket, and this is where these come in, because you're going to glue these to each side of your pocket. You'll see me do this as we make the tutorial together, but that will glue on there, and then that will glue onto its counterpart, and as you can see then we're making a pocket. And then this die will glue on top of there, and then that flap will glue onto the back of there. So we're making a little zipped purse type of thing for the bag. So that's how that works. Okay, we've also got the lid, the base, and then we've got these little things here. Okay, so we have a left and a right, and they glue to the top of the bag on the glue tab, and it just reinforces everything. Now I've actually glued 2 together to make them a little bit thicker, but that's personal choice. The instructions are as a guide, and it dependent on what cardstock you use. So that's me gone through all the dies. So I think now we're going to bring in the cardstock. Now I have gone ahead and I have made some things up previously, but the majority of it we're going to put together ourselves, okay? So you can see here, I'm going to bring in 2 pieces here. And like I said, you're going to need to cut 2 of these, 2 of these, 2 of these, and also 2 of these. So that's going to be the main base of the box, apart from the lid section. So I'm going to put some of these to one side a moment, and I'm going to go to the base, to the very base. So as I said to you before, you're going to need to cut 2 of these panels out, and then one of them you're going to trim off that glue tab here. Okay, and you can just see it's got little dashed lines across. We're going to trim that off on one piece only. Okay, so I'm going to place adhesive, and of course we'll always be using deluxe adhesive, always be using a wet glue for our 3D projects. And then we're going to place that down and just run that over with either your fingers or your bone folder, your precision glider, whatever you like to use. Okay, and I'll go over it on one side, I'll turn it, and I will go over it on the other side just to make sure it is stuck down. Now I want to point out, you can see on the cardstock, I'm going to bring it up, you'll see a little mark there. When you look at your side panel, you'll see a little mark there. That's an indication of where it's to be placed. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add adhesive to that now. And I'm going to look for that little mark. I'm going to look for that other little mark. And I'm going to line those marks up. And I'm going to press down. I'm going to flip it. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the other section. So just as we've done that side, I'm going to do the same. I'm going to look for that mark. And then I'm going to line it up. Okay, ooh, just like so, and then flip it over and grab it from the other side. So you're going to end up with a long section like so. Okay, so then you're going to have these side pieces. So one is going to be placed here, one is going to go on the opposite side. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do that now. So I'm just going to turn it so that I can see what I'm doing, guys. So I'm going to add adhesive to that little flap, all those little glue tabs, and then I'm going to press that down and then press down. Okay. It's an absolutely amazing set, and I can see so many of you making these for all sorts of occasions, for the grandchildren, for children, and I can also see you doing these off designer bags and putting them in presentation boxes. So, and I'm thinking craft fairs, if you made one of these in a presentation box, oh my goodness me, I think everybody would want one. I really do. So we're going to press this one, just like we did on the opposite side, line it up and press down. And just scoop any excess glue away. And then I'm going to take it from the other side, always make sure you've gone over your folds. Now I'm going to move this over so that I can show you this edge here. So then you have this die here and this die here. So you'll see you have dashed lines going across this die. You see that there? So what we want to do is we want to place adhesive on one edge, and then we want to bring this in I gone the wrong way. I think. Yeah. So we'll go across two edges because we can. And then I'm going to bring this in, bring it down to that score line. Whoops. There we go. Might get my head in the way, guys. There we go. And then we want to bring this section in and glue that section to that section. And then go over that with your bone folder. Okay. And then I'm going to slide it across to do the opposite side. So I'm going to bring that in again. So glue along the longest edge and then bring that into the dotted line that we can see there. Let's slide that in a little bit. There we go. And then we're going to add adhesive to the other tab, and we're going to bring that die cut in, and then we're going to press down with a bone folder and get a nice adhesion there. Flip it over and then press firmly from the back, and then do the same on the opposite side just to make sure we've got all that in place. So now you can see you've got on both sides there. Okay, so now you can bring in these tabs and you can add adhesive, which I'm just going to lift it up so I can see, guys. That's all I'm doing. And I'm going to bring some adhesive in here. Okay, and then I'm just going to curve this to the curvature of the box, and I'm going to start in the corner. Okay, and I'm going to bring that round and bring that round. When you've got hold of it and you can bring it down, then press with your fingers to the shape of the box. So it's very hard for me to show you, but if you can press the corner with your fingers and press against the desk, you've got somewhere there for an anchor point. So whether it's your fingers or whether it's your bone folder, just go in there with your fingers, okay? And then you can hold the straight edge down. And mine's not got enough glue on, so we'll put some more glue on that edge. And at that point you can crease your corners there, because they're going to be creased inwards to the curvature at the top of the bag. And then we're going to hold that straight piece in. So do that all the way round, guys. Now I will be hugging and holding and hugging and holding until I get it where I want it to be. But you obviously will be taking a lot more time. I say this on all my videos, but it's very true. you will be taking a lot longer to let things dry than myself. But as you can see there, and if there's like a little edge like that there, whilst it's still wet, you've got a chance to push it in. Okay, so I'd like that pushed in a little bit more until we get it where we want it. Okay, so then you will follow the theme and you will go all round one side. So again, I'm hugging, apologies, but I am trying to get all the glue on all the edges, so it will be a bit till we can shrink it down a little bit so that you can see. So it's it's a smaller die set, but by gum, they've given us a lot to play with. So again, I'm going to bring that in, and I'm going to bring it round like I did before so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, so you're going to bring that curve in. When you're happy with one anchor point, so like there, just wait till it's grabbed a little bit and then bring it in until you're happy. Okay, and then I'll end up flipping it over like we did before. It's all about, when you've got a curve, it's all about teasing. You've got some playtime until that glue is dry. So as you can see me pushing it a little bit with my fingers to get a neater edge. So again, I'll come in from the inside and I'll pinch that into place with my fingers till I'm happy with that curve. See how we've ended up with a neater curve there than there, because I've let that dry a little bit too long before I could push that back in. There we go. So that's all you're going to do. You're just going to tease it, and like I said, you'll take more time and you'll get yours absolutely spot on. Okay, so then we're going to repeat the same on the other side. So again, glue on those tabs. Okay, and the reason I put it on the straight bit is, to be honest, once you line it up with this straight bit, you can concentrate then on the curves a little bit more. So again, find that little anchor point, bring those side panels in and down, and then grab a hold. There we go. It's worth just sitting and getting it right for a few minutes, because it's such a fabulous project and you're going to enjoy decorating this so much. So again, I'm going to flip it now. I'm going to get my hand in and I'm going to tease those little corners down and in, and you'll be able to see on the corner there how you're going. There we go. So just bring them in a little bit and then press with your fingers. There we go. Bring that one in, bring that one in. And if you're a bit funny with your fingers, you can always use a ruler or your bone folder to bring that underneath, and then you've got something to press against. There's always a tool or something that you can use when you're doing curves. Okay, so we're just going to add glue now to this last section, and I do apologise if we've been all higgledy-piggledy there, but till it gets a little bit smaller it's harder to show you on the screen because it's quite large when it's all laid out on the desk. And I'm going to show you all the papers as well when we've made this section. So again, I'm going to bring this down. Tuck that one in. I've always got one that wants to go where it wants to go. Right. So let's get these curves. Need a little anchor point. So if you want to, you can see where the bag will meet at the top. Start with the straight bit when it comes to the end one, and then work your way to that curve, and then you can bring them little pieces in and then just tease them. So I'm going to tip it, and then I'm going to just tease that corner, just like we've done with the others. There we go. And you can see now your shape. Now this reminds me of like a saddle bag, and I could imagine this bag being inked with vintage photo or a similar colour. I'm just creasing those corners. I should have done that at the beginning. And I could really see this looking like a leathery bag. And there are some leathery techniques out there with craft cards, so you know, YouTube that, and I'm sure you will find a couple of good tutorials there. I remember doing that technique many years ago, and it does look very realistic. Now, like I said before, I'd have pushed those in a little bit more had I been a bit quicker with my glue, but we'll just pretend that that's bob on. Right, so as you can see, sorry, I've got glue on my hands, we have these little tabs here. Now, you'd think, oh, well, they just glue on there. Well, we have these little attachments, and we have a left and a right, and they're just going to go on there to reinforce that corner there. Okay, so I'm going to add adhesion onto there. Have I got my tweezers? She says. There we go. Let's bring that in, and let's put those sections on. It just reinforces those little edges and corners there. So I just pinch those with my tweezers, and then we'll put the one on the other corner. There we go. And I'm going to get my tweezers in there on the situation. Now, you could put these little corner pieces on at the beginning if you wanted to. There's so much to this bag though that you'll spend an afternoon, I'd say, cutting all your little pieces, because with the decoration there is a lot to cut, but don't let that put you off or anything. It's just decoration, because you've got so many choices of decoration, buckles and straps and everything. It's really up to you how much or how little you want to put on this bag. Okay, so let's just pinch that till it's grabbed. And then this last one, there we go. So add that in there. Just make sure it's all lined up. I'm going to pinch that together with my tweezers. Just reinforces all those bits. Okay, and then I'm going to put adhesive on that one, and then pinch that at the top. There we go. And adhesive on this one, and pinch that at the top. And you could add a little purse in there. I've actually made another kind of pocket on one of them, and I will show you. And that could actually go inside the bag as a little purse as well. So then you could put a little gift card in there. I mean, imagine sending one of these to your mum on Mother's Day. That would be awesome, wouldn't it? With a little gift card in there to go shopping. I know we're a little way off Mother's Day yet, but we're always thinking ahead, aren't we? Us crafters, we're always thinking ahead. But for your girlfriends, your sisters, your best friend. There we go. So they're all glued on there, okay? So you can see it's huge inside there. So I am now going to show you how to do the lid, and then I'm going to show you the papers, okay? So for the lid, let's put those sections out of the way. We have this one here, and it has a little tab on there. So we're going to fold that tab, there we go, with the bone folder. And then we have these two little dies here. Okay, so we want to fold those. And we want the top. So this is the actual top of the bag, okay? So you'll see here you have a glue tab. Okay, and you'll see here you have a glue tab. So we want to add adhesive to this glue section here, and then we want to add this top section in here. Okay, and then line that up and go over it with your bone folder. So again, on the opposite side, just so those fibres are breaking down and bonding to each other. So there we have the top section of the bag and the flap that goes across the front. Now I am going to line the inside of the flap when I've added magnets. I'm going to add 2 magnets each side. That's optional. That's not, you don't have to do that. That's just the way I'm designing my bag. And then these 2 little glue tabs, glue on each side at the top. So again, I'm going to add adhesive. Going to add that side piece in there. And it just goes bang in the middle. Okay. And again, you can go over with your bone folder and fold that down. And then we have one that's going to go on the other side. And again, in the middle. There we go. Just pinch that. Oh, it moved. There we go. And then with the bone folder again. So that is the top and your back panel. And what I tend to do, it doesn't really matter which is the front and which is the back at this moment in time, but what I'll tend to do then is put adhesive on that back tab, and then bring the base of the box to that score line and just hold that in place on that score line until you know it's grabbed. Awkward for you to see, guys, on camera, but I will show you once I've got that down. There we go. Just hold that down each side till you know the glue's grabbed, and then we can show you those papers. Okay. So now you can see that back panel of the bag is now adhered to your back panel, but we will be covering our back panel up, so do not worry about that. So then these little glue tabs then will just slide inside the bag. So just lift that up, lift them in, and then they get folded inside the bag. And then your flap comes down to the front. Now this is where you would add 2 magnets inside your flap of the front of the panel of the bag and 2 on the bag, if that's what you wanted to do. Now you can fasten this down with your buckles and your straps, so there's lots of different ways that you can use this die set. Okay, you don't have to add magnets, but that's just the way I've gone with this bag. So now I'm going to put that to one side, guys, because I do want to show you the papers. Okay, so it's a 12 by 12 paper stack, and I'm going to pull it out of the wrapping because I have used some of the papers, and we always get a reflective glare anyway from the wrapper. So let's show you these. Now, as you can see, you get rainbow paper. Opposite the rainbow paper is a beautiful pink. Okay, now we've used some of these papers, so that's why those are loose. You'll get 2 sheets of each, and in this next one you can see I've used some which is your camouflage, and there you've got like kind of looks like a rain shower really. It's got a little fleck in it. So you'll get 2 sheets of that also. Okay, so this is the Canvas Couture papers. So 18 sheets, 200 GSM, 2 of each sheet. So 9 double-sided designs, 12 by 12, acid and lignin free, and you get 28 tags and stamps for use with our tags. So basically you've got all those tags that you can use there as well. Okay, so you've got florals, checks, stripes, denims, camouflage. You've got one here that will match our bag today, and I might add that later and get the tag dies out. But yeah, so that's stunning, absolutely stunning papers, and they're not shiny, they have a more of a chalky finish. So here you've got the stars in the blues, and then opposite it we've got like a denim stitch design paper. So you're going to get 2 of those. Then you've got this, it's kind of like a denim, and then a beautiful, I don't know whether the camera can pick up on that, like a stitched, and you can see the threads on it in the florals. And then opposite it you've got the pink gingham. So am I going to say it? Yeehaw! So we've got the gingham papers there, and then we've got like a denim diamond shape there, and opposite it we have the navy stripes, and it's kind of like an off-white, like a creamy grey white, that really. Then we've got another diamond shape in a kind of a charcoaly black, and then opposite it you've got like a brown leather design, and that does look very leathery. here you've got a beautiful floral design, and then opposite it you've got like a Hessian design there. And then here you've got a quilted design in that beautiful blush pink, and then you've got like a natural weave on the back there. And I think that is all of the papers. Bearing in mind I have used the camouflage, couldn't think of the word there. I've used the camouflage, and I've also used the rainbow papers there as well. So those are your papers that will come with the die set also. So I guess at this point you want me to show you a couple of bags that we've already put together. And when I said you had made a cargo, I've done a cargo here, and I've used the CP, which is 216 GSM, and I've used the tan, and then here you can see you've got that little concertina pocket with a little magnet on there. This is that rope design I was telling you about. This is that extra purse that you can put together if you snip a few bits off and play with your dies. Again, that has magnets, so that shuts. And then here we've done some little shorter straps. And then here we do have an operating buckle. So remember that die I said to you before I couldn't show you, the little strap. That comes down and that lifts up. You can see there, that's your faux rope. And then that's how you get in the bag, and there are magnets under there also. And that comes down, then you've got a proper little pocket here with a concertina side, so you could put a little gift voucher or money in there, a little note, and then again this strap goes through that buckle, it pulls back, she says. And then when it goes through there, I'll do it upside down because I can't see for the trees. Right, down you go, through you go, up you go. All fingers and thumbs, guys. And then that little strap then comes down and holds it shut. So there's, like I said to you, there's lots of different ways to fasten the front of the bag. And have two straps, one strap, and then here we've added the pattern paper to bring it all together. So that is the camouflage one. And then, like I said to you, we've done a rainbow. So this is something fun for the children. Again, we have this buckle design on the side with a little concertina pocket. We've actually drawn inside the die with a pencil just to get an extra layer, because you can do that. Same on the other side. On the back we have the two straps, and then we have the little hanger, which is just a piece of card that's from the set, and we've just folded it. Again, we've got the handle on the top, and there's the little decorative washers, they're also in the set. And then when we flip this over, we have this front on magnets, and that's on a magnet, and in we go. And I think this would be great for a mini colouring book with a little pack of crayons, and I just think it'd be great for the kids, you know, or a little puzzle, like a little Lego puzzle or something in there. And again, you have this little pocket here where you can put a little voucher, money, or a little note in there. So I think that's a fun one. And then you've got this little faux zip as well. So I really love that. I love that rainbow paper. I thought it was so much fun. So that's what we're aiming for, guys. So this was going to be a little bit different in the fact that we're going to go for this paper, which you didn't see in the set because we've used it. And it's a beautiful plaid. On the opposite side is like a green, kind of like a little Hessian kind of detail there. So that's where we're going with this bag today. We're going kind of natural tones and creams and the buff cardstock. So, right, now we can crack on. So, where am I going first? I am going to go, I'm going to show you how to do the handle. So as you can see here, we've got a decorative piece, and we're going to put this right in the middle at the top. So this is going to go straight into there. Just absolutely love this paper. It's one of my favourites. This and that rainbow paper. But I mind you saying that, I really like the camouflage as well. So that goes on like so. Now the handle. We've got 2 of these, and we're going to place adhesive on one side, like so. And then you're going to place the other one right up to the edge of that square, and then press those together. Okay. And then you're going to tip one up, tip the other one up on the fold, and then you're going to shape this with your fingers to kind of give it that handle shape. Okay. And then this will go on the middle of your, so we're going to do that now. So I'm going to add adhesive to one side of the handle, and I'm going to place it on the edge there in the middle, and just hold that down. And I'm going to line that up so I can see. There we go. And just hold it till you know, then you can move on to your next section. And then I'm going to add adhesive to the underside of the handle. Okay, and I'm going to bring that down to the edge of the paper, and again just hold it till we know we can grab. Do excuse the pink fingers, I've been inking and playing with pens and all sorts of things the last few days. It's been busy in this craft room. It looks like an absolute tip sitter, but we've had fun, and that's what it's all about. So you can bring that down now. Now I do have a little decorative washer I'm going to add now before I lose them. So I'm going to place one there and one there, and I'm going to bring that one in there. Oh, she says, let go of the tweezers please. There we go. And I'm going to add this one here. Swoop away any excess glue. It will dry clear, so don't worry. And then that is the top of the box done. So, like I said before, we are going to have some washers, some magnets I should say, washers. I've got washers on the brain. So I'm going to cut myself a little bit of red liner for my magnet, because sadly I don't have any Tonic magnets at the moment, which saddens me greatly because I do like a magnet from Tonic. They're the best magnets I've used, to be fair. Right. I've got tape stuck to tape here, so bear with guys, bear with. Right, so we're going in with a magnet, and we're going to say about there. So I'm just going to put another little bit of red liner on. And I'm going to go in about there. Now I have got some more magnets somewhere. I put them out ready. Best laid plans and all that. Ah, they're here. I knew I stuck them to something. There we go. So let's get another 2 magnets on the situation. I start out well. So then I've added the other magnet on top. Okay. And I've put red liner on that. And take that red liner off. Now, the reason I do it this way is because I tend to put a little glue blob there and there, small one on each one. I'm going to bring that lid down where it needs to be, so tucking in both sides, and then I'm bringing that lid down. Now it will need pressure to apply the magnet, so the logic here is that we'll lift that off and it'll leave a little glue mark, so we know then where that needs to go. And that one has decided it wanted to come off from the lid, but that's okay because we can put that one back on and we can put that one back on. Okay, so then I'm going to get some more red liner. Oops, she says. And I'm going to add a little red liner on top of each one. This is probably the only time you ever see me using red liner, guys, to be fair. Not very often. It has its uses, but I am a wet adhesive gal. So I'm going to bring them down. I'm just going to make sure that they are sticking and in the right place. That one isn't, so we need to move it over slightly. Always do this before you move on, because once it's down, have we got the wrong bit on the wrong bit? Let's just check. It don't want to stick, does it? For some bizarre reason. Let's just double check that. Is it sticking now? Yeah, it's sticking now. Always make sure you're happy with your placement, guys, because it's too late once you've added your paper. It's funny, I had a couple of magnets earlier on today that just didn't want to stick, and I think these are the ones. Very strange. Right, let's try that again. Otherwise we'll ditch these magnets and we'll, yeah, it's not sticking, that magnet. I think I've had some dodgy magnets from somewhere. Right, let's try with those. let's try with those. This is why you should buy Tonic magnets, because Tonic magnets are the best. Absolutely the best. Right, let's get rid of that, because I've got red liner stuck to me and everything. Oh dear, dear. Right. Okay. So, yeah, I'm not wanting to stick too good at all. I almost feel like I've got some sort of residue on the magnet. Right, let's try again. And what I'm going to do, guys, to make sure my magnets actually stay where I want them to be, they're going to get a piece of sticky over the top. This is just because for some reason, I had this earlier today, the magnets that I had purchased recently have been very hard to stick down. Right, let's take that off and stick that on. There we go. Let's just check that they are sticking to one another. They are. Brilliant. Okay. So I will take the backing off. Oh dear, these things are sent to try us, aren't they? They really are. But never give up, guys. Where there's a will, there's a way. So I'm going to cover that up now. There we go. Just so that we can't see those magnets there, because you don't want to see them when you open the bag. So just pinch all your cardstock together. Okay. I should have said you should have got the kettle on and got a nice chocolate biscuit, because this isn't a quick tutorial. Right, so just pinch those till you know they're kind of sealed, okay? And then we're going to take the tape off here, and then we're going to cover this up. So come on, Mr. Red Liner, don't you be letting me down. There we go. And let's get this piece up. There we go. So at this point, I'm actually doubling my card up. Now this is optional. This is dependent on what kind of GSM cardstock you're using. So I just want to make sure that my magnets are well and truly covered up. Even though I will be adding a decorative piece of paper to the front of this, I just think it adds more stability. And if you're thinking of putting like a bottle of perfume in here as a gift, little toiletries or something, it's a solid box. The cardstock I'm actually using here is a 240, but CP works absolutely beautifully with this bag. So there we go. So it now clings, and we're going to be covering that front panel up. Okay, so I've just drawn inside of the die because I wanted an extra layer there. That is optional, you don't have to do that. You can cut your main panel out of pattern paper like we've done on one of the other bags. But I'm having this one just about there. Okay, let's bring that down. Because we're covering all of our workings up now because we don't like to see any of those. So we'll bring that one down, tucking those side pieces in to the box, and then that brings that down. Okay, so next step, I think we're going to add the decorative panel. So another layer there, but the paper's not too thick, so that's absolutely fine. So just line that up with your layer and bring that down, and you've got a little bit of wiggle room then. Okay, just love that paper, absolutely stunning. I love a tartan check or a plaid, absolute sucker for a plaid paper. Okay, so then that goes down and it clings there, so you can see it all starting to come together now. Now the back is optional, you can add another layer if you wish. You don't have to do this. I'm quite happy just adding a decorative piece of paper to the back. Okay. But you are going to be adding lots of buckles and straps and things to the front, so if it's quite robust, it's easier to do. So down we go with that layer, lining him up across the top and then bringing him in and lining him up before you press firmly in place. Okay, so you can smooth that out with your fingers. There we go. Let's stick that down at the top. There we go. Right, so now we can start planning where we're having our buckles, etc. So, like this little decorative piece I've already made, we're going to make one up now. So this is like a little side pocket, and you can see there's a magnet in there and a magnet under there to hold it closed. That's optional as well. So that I'm going to be gluing around about there for a side piece, and then that little buckle I showed you before, I'm going to be adding that to the side there as well. Okay, now at this point I think I might add it with a piece of foam, the little buckle. So I'm just going to put a little bit of foam on the situation because I can. So a little bit on there. Take the backing off. And then I will add a little bit of glue just on the foam pad because I know I can, and that'll give it that longevity. And then I want that to sit around about there. Okay, and then this panel I'm having wet adhesive, and I'm going to add this to the side, and I'll show you how to make this now. So I'm just putting my hand inside so I've got something to press against, and then I'm just going to hold that for a second or two. So I'm pushing with my fingers underneath and pushing against it on top, just so that you've got that force of the fibres gluing together there. That's a little dangly on there. Love that. So darn cute. I'm just going to hold it a little bit longer. And then we'll go on to the other side. So we've got this half a buckle done. So as you can see, you have a joining piece in the middle. Now you could actually, I've added a craft one to the back and a mirror one to the top. It adds a little bit of strength, so this is a little bit more thicker for pulling and manipulating. So I'm going to thread that piece through and then bring that back on itself, and then we're going to trim off that section there, and then we're just going to glue that to that, and that's just like a little decorative buckle to add more interest to the side of your bag there. So we're just going to add some foam on that one. And again, we're going to add a little bit of wet adhesive onto there. And then I'm going to eyeball where we put that one. So we put the other one in exactly the same place, but on the other side. There we go. And then make this little pocket. Okay. So, like I said to you before, you'll be cutting 2 of these out with the glue tab, and then you'll be trimming the glue tab off the plain one. Okay. I've just cut a little strip of the buff card to match, and I'm going to place adhesive just round the edge there. I mean, this is just up to your own imagination now, how you want to decorate it with all the different straps and buckles. This is just a guide. You can just happily go away and come up with your own design. So press that down there, and then you're going to see these dies here. Okay, so we want to put adhesive on there, line them up with the edge, and then we're going to squish it all down. So down he goes. There we go. And then we want to repeat it on the other side. So again, we want that adhesive on this side. I love this little feature. I think this little pocket's ingenious. Because who doesn't love a handbag with loads of different pockets? I do. I'm a sucker for a new handbag. Handbags and watches, oh, I'm terrible. That is my downfall, I've got to say. Can't go shopping without a little... Oh, we've moved that a bit too further down. Let's see if we can move that up a little bit before it's stuck. Just make sure you don't go too far down that you're going to block your little glue tab there. That's it. So take it right to that top edge right there, because then we want to fold the bottom in. Okay, so we want a little bit of glue there and a little bit of glue there, and then we want to fold this bottom edge in and just pinch it. And then we want to add adhesive to these sections across the bottom, down each side. Okay, and then this section will glue on this section, and then just hold that in place. There we go. Then you've got a little concertina pocket there. So we've got a little matching flap there, and we're going to glue that on the back, wrap it round the front, and then just squeeze it and hold it. And then we're going to try our luck again with these magnets before I end up throwing them out the window. And then some red liner on that situation. And then we're going to place one inside. Now you could have little Velcro dots, they would work as well. I'm going to put one magnet there so I know where it goes. Put the other piece of red liner on top, like so. And then I'm going to press that down. And then we're going to cover that up with the same one. We've just cut the glue tab off there. So again, wet adhesive, and then bring that over the magnet, and then pinch that all the way round. It will take a few seconds to, because you're trying to glue round a magnet as well. So bring that down. Be great if you had smaller magnets for this one. And I know you guys will have all different size magnets. I do somewhere, but it's somewhere. Oh, you can never find anything when you want it, can you? Right, so that goes over the top there, like so. Okay, so then we've got this little loop, which I've backed again with the buff cardstock. I've got this little tag, and I'm going to thread that through, and I'm going to add a little bit of adhesive right on the end there. I'm going to bring those two in, and I'm going to pinch them with the tweezers. Okay, it looks like a little door knocker. And then I've got a little decorative circle there. Now you will make sure everything is dry before you move on. But we're moving on because we've got a fair bit to decorate. So there's your little pocket like the one that we've got on the other side. So we're now going to add adhesive to that, and then we're going to place that on this other side of the bag. So bring the bag back in and we'll eyeball that again round about there, and again I'm going to put my hand inside and then I can push against my hand, let that adhere. Oh, I can see you making some amazing bags. I can see you doing designer bags, putting them in presentation boxes and sharing them on the Tonic Studios group on Facebook. I think you're going to have a heyday with this. I love bags. Tonic do bags spot on. You know, going all the way back to our little Kensington bag and how popular that was. And every time we bring a bag, it's so popular. Right, so that's that one. So I do have some side decoration to add also. So remember me saying you about the rope tie? I've got 2 of those, so I'm just going to add adhesive to those, just a little bit there, and then I'm going to place that on the side there like it's had the rope tied through, as you'd see on a bag. And just hold those in place so we know we can move on. Just going to press my tweezers against that. There we go. And then we're going to add one to the other side also. So there we go. And then let's add that one. There we go. And then if we open the bag up, we can then add this long one to the front there, so it looks like it's coming all the way down. So again, wet adhesive, be your best friend. And I know the deluxe is out of stock at the moment, but it is on its way, guys. It is on the boat as we speak, but it does take a few weeks to get here. So bring that across. Just like so. And any glue that you get, we can buff it off afterwards. Okay, just tap that into place. And then we've got these 2 little pieces, I said to you before, like little cocoa beans. So let's have a look at those. So we've got a curve that way, we have a curve that way. So we want to add a little bit of adhesive, whoops, to the tops, like so. And then we want this little piece here to join over the top, like so. Just like that. And then we want these like 2 little, just like look like 2 little coffee beans to me. We want those round about there. And another one around about there, like that, little toggles. And that's what they're called. And then onto adhesive on the back of there. And then we want to place those in the middle there, coming down. And you look at them before you put them on the bag and you go, no, that won't work. And then when you see the placement of them and then you see it all tied together, you go, ah, yeah, that's it. So that's just a little decorative element once you've opened the bag. Okay, so now we're going to make the little pocket that goes to the bottom. So the top of the bag where the handle is, you've got that glue tab. We need to cut 2 of those, and like I said, we're going to cut the glue tab off 1 of them. Okay, then we're going to cut 2 of these concertina squidgy sides out, and we're going to put adhesive on there, and then the one with the glue tab, I'm going to use that one, and then we're going to line that up and press that down and pinch it till you know you can let go. Okay, and we're going to go to the next one. And then bring that one in. Slide that one in, making sure again you take it to the top and you don't block this glue tab. There we go. Okay, and then we're going to put a little bit of glue there, little bit of glue there, and bring in that glued tab, and bring in that glue tab, like so. And then we're going to add adhesive to that glue tab, and that glue tab, and that glue tab. And then you're going to bring this section in and glue on one edge, and then glue on the other edge. And then with a bone folder or whatever you've got to hand, go over that back edge. Okay. Okay. And then we've got these 2 dies. So you can see you have a glue tab here and here. So we want to put adhesive on there. Bring this panel in then. Okay, put them together. And then when these are dry, so as I keep saying, you know, you will make sure your sections are a lot drier than mine before you move on to the next stage. Okay. When they are dry, what we want to do is score them, bend them on that score line, like so. But yours is going to be drier than mine. Okay, so then these will glue. You can either have it glued on the inner part or you can glue it on the back part. Okay, so I'm just going to take my die cut to that section, add adhesive on the back, and then I'm going to fold it over and hold it until it's grabbed. Okay. So then you've got a nice little wallet there. When it's dry, you can open it because you've got your concertina sides, and that's why I say you could put something, a little gift. Now, if you wanted to put magnets under this section, you could, and then you could cover them up using the same section again, but cutting off the glue tabs. So you've got a neater in and out. But we're not actually adding magnets to this section. Okay. So I am going to put a little dot there and a little dot there, because we want to bring in these little washers which are in the set, and bring that down and then bring that washer in, just to add a little feature. Oh, there she goes, and we go down there. So we also have a debossed zip and your little zip there. So there's two zips, and you can either add your zip here or you could add it here. I think we're going to go for here. So it's just a faux zip. Okay, so that's going to go round about there. Press that down. Have we got a straight zip? Have we got a wonky zip? Oh my eyes, shocking. There we go. Right, so with me so far, hope so. So going to bring the bag into play. Now this pocket is going to sit about here, but I'm not sticking it just yet because I want to work out where I want to put my clasps. Okay, so I want to show you how they work, so let's bring them into play. So as I said to you, you know, you can overlap one over the other, and there's different ways of doing it. So we've got one here that's already made up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put adhesive on the back here. Okay, and then I'm going to put the other one over the top like so. This is just one way, there's lots of different ways. Okay, so I am going to add my little washers now before I forget or I lose one, and that's going to go on there like that. And then I've got another one that's going to go on there like that. I just think they give such a lovely finishing touch. Now, how to make a buckle like this with a little tooth. I've cut one in a craft card, a buff coloured card, and I've cut one in mirri. Now the way I've done it, because you know gluing mirri to mirri is hard, you just want glue just on that section there, not that bottom section. Okay, and we want to place this with the long section on that middle bar there on the craft card, and that will adhere to that really well because it's craft card. Then we're going to go in with the gold one, going to add glue to the reverse, and then we're going to slide it underneath that little peg. One, it makes your buckle more solid, and two, it's easier to glue that little tooth to craft card than it is trying to glue that bar over the top of your mirri card. Okay, just gives it a better finish. And then what you're going to do with that then, put that to one side, you're then going to decide that that is where you want it on hook number 1, and you just put that through there. Now what I tend to do then is add a little bit of glue to the reverse of that bracket just to hold it in place. Okay, and then I will add adhesive to the back, but you could have had this as a fully functioning strap if you'd wanted to, but this is just another way. There we go. Get it straight then. This is just another way of doing like a faux buckle. So what I want to do with these, if I remember rightly, I'm going to have them so that they stick to there and they stick to here. Now this is where I've already made my handle, and I'm going to show you what I've done. So you know the handle we had, I've done a handle, I've done a loop with the strap, I've added 3 of the straps, cutting the square sections off, and then I've done the same at the other end. So that is just one handle, a bracket, another handle with the square cut off, with that cut off, attached to another section again, and the same again. Okay, and this is going to be a handle that goes up from the top and is glued to the back. So we're going to have that on the back of the bag. Okay, for the front of the bag, I have done a folded loop like we did for the side here, for this piece, little folded piece there, and we cut it at the back, onto a buckle, then a whole handle piece, the square cut off, little section, and again at the other end, exactly the same. And this is going to be glued on the front of the bag because we're going to have handles on this one. So my thinking was that I'm going to have them glued about here, about here. That's what I was thinking, around about there. Now we've not done this before, so this is a trial and run for me. So I was going to have that there. I was going to have this one stuck to this one, and then this one on a magnet on my pocket. So I want that square to sit about there on my pocket. Okay, so this is why I'm not sticking anything yet till I've worked it out. So that would work really well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue these in position now. So let's glue this one in place. So I'm going to have it around about there on the edge, and I'm just going to hold that in place. So this is trial and error. This is, you know, we've not done this style before. We've made this one different from the other two, so they're all different. And that's coming in there, and then this one is going to be glued about there. Okay, so again, adhesive, and I hope you can all see this, guys. I hope I am not hugging too much. So let's bring that little one in there, making sure we've kind of got the same distance each side, and I'm not moving on until that has dried a little bit more. And then I will need to find some more little washers because I need to add 2 there. Oh, I might not actually, because I've already got them on the other piece, haven't I? Right, so now they're in place, I'm just going to hold that a little bit longer. We're going to glue those over the top. So I can add adhesive to there. We can put them on now. So that will go directly over that one. And you can be holding that one. Just love this. If only this was a real bag, I'd be there like a shot. And again, we're going to repeat the other side. But like I say, guys, this is just an idea, but you'll be swapping and changing, and you might just want one strap in the middle. You might not want any straps down the front. You might not want a pocket on the front. I actually quite like it like that without even a pocket. You added 2 magnets inside the bag. But I think because we can, we will. So they'll go about there. Yeah, I quite like that. What do you reckon, guys? I think that will work nicely. Right, so magnet. No, I did keep a square. I don't know where my other square's gone, so we'll have to play that by ear. But I was going to be putting a magnet under there, and then I was going to cover it up underneath. Okay, so that you can't see it. I'm wondering now whether I actually like it with the pocket or whether I prefer it without. I quite like that as it is, you know. Oh, decisions. Whilst we're making a mind up and that's drying, we'll do the back. Because I can never make my mind up. You know what I'm like. So, we've gone ahead and we've done this strip ready. Okay. So this will be going on the back. So, like we did before, we're going to be lining them up each side. There and there. So we've got 2 straps at the top. So I'm going to add adhesive to this square section here. Don't know whether I want to add that pocket or not. Decisions. Right. Well, as I've made it, we should add it, shouldn't we? We should. And I'm putting glue on the wrong bit now. I'm going to adhesive on this square bit. Hey dear, getting carried away. Oh, she says. Right, so we want that one to be the same distance from the edge. There we go. Oh, a little bit of resistance. Right, let's press that down. You'd think I've been watching Hello, wouldn't you? Oh, this is too hard. I do think of some daft things when I'm I'm crafting and filming. Right, now just be more patient than I am being at this point, because we want these top sections to be quite dry, because we're going to be bringing these up to curve them a little bit. Okay guys, so there'll be kind of that resistance there where the card kind of doesn't want to be manipulated. So I'm just going to add adhesive to one of these squares, and then I'm going to tuck it up, and I'm going to bring it so that it meets the top of that line on the paper. Okay, and I'm just going to pinch it and hold it, keeping hold of the top at the same time. There we go. It's just being a little bit patient. What is it we say? Be kind to your glue. Very true. There we go. And then I'm going to add glue to this square here as well. And I'm also going to bring that up to that top line there, making sure we are straight, and then press down there as well. I'm just going to press that down with my tweezers. You see it's lifting a little bit there because I need to hold it a bit longer. So we can have this as a rucksack with a carrying handle, or a carrying handle. Now if you want to, you can double up your cardstock for the handles if you want to, but you don't have to either. So now, have we made a mind up, guys? Are we having a pocket or not? Right, let me have a look. Let's assess the situation, because it'll need to go up a little bit further than that. Should we have a pocket? I suppose we should, as we've got one out. Right, let's get some magnets on the situation, and let's hope that they play ball and they want to work. So let's get some red liner on it. Oops. There we go. Oh, I get this stuff absolutely everywhere I do. Can't be let loose with red liner. If it's not stuck to me, it's stuck to my scissors, and it's stuck everywhere. Oops. Right. So, let's snip that away. Right. So, basically we want it on that brown line. So let's lift the bag open. I've got a magnet in with my tweezers, and I kind of let's go in with build, and I don't want it in the bag. What am I talking about? I want it in the envelope. Oh my, do you know, honest to God, sometimes I do worry about myself. So we roughly want it about there, don't we? So if we put one in and we put one over the top, we'll know if we're round about right. Oh, I don't know what I was thinking then. I do go off on a tangent. I think we're all a bit guilty of that. I'm thinking about another launch whilst I'm working. I'm terrible. Right. I've got a fair few things to do and I'm like, oh, have I done that? Have I done that? Right, so we want that one roughly. And this is just by eye. So let's bring that down because we want to see if this is going to work. Oh, we want to glue a magnet into the back of the things, don't we? Dear me. So we didn't need to glue those there, did we? We just needed to glue. Right. Oh, can't wait to get some Tonic magnets. These are driving me nuts. There we go. Right, let's get all these little bits out of the way. Out of the way. Don't want to be seeing all that red liner. There we go. Right, so we want to bring these down, don't we? Should have done that first. Should have put them on there first. Right. I should have put those bang on there first. Right, so let's see when that's shut. So where is that magnet? Completely in the wrong place. That one's not bad, just that one that's in the wrong place. So roughly, I mean this is new to me, I've not done one the same as this yet, so right, let's just say where that needs to go. That needs to go about there. Out there, I'd say. Ish. About there. Right, so it's right on that. Right, we'll try again with that one. We're not doing a good job with these magnets today, are we, guys? Blimey. Right. So let's get that one off. Get this one back in. Oh, I've got a red liner stuck in here now. Right, let's get that red liner out of here before we end up sticking it all together. Oh dear dear. Right, let's try again. Let's try again. So it needs to be about there, we think. make sure we're straight, don't we? That isn't straight. Right. So I'm going to add adhesive to the back. This is where you are really going to take a lot more time with your placement and stuff than myself. Right. Let's put that one down there. And just hold that till you know. Very frustrating with my magnets today. But like I said, you can do straps. Like for this one, we didn't add any magnets there. We actually used the clasp that's in the set to hold that buckle shut. So there's different ways of using them. We've done all different ways, you know, different looks there to each and every one of them. You know, like I said, crayons and pens in this one for the kiddies. I just think that is stunning. And that has a little clasp on there. And then, like I said, this one, no magnets at all. It's all fastened within the buckle mechanism there. And then this one, we've got on the magnets. Lift that up. You've got that beautiful ribbon detail. You've got everything hiding your workings there. We will cover these up with some little squares. So we would just adhere one of these onto here to cover that up. And bring that then down into place. It holds then the pocket closed at the bottom. You've got this lovely detail here with your little buckle, and of course they all open because they're on magnets. And then you've got the backpack section here. Now you could add a little zip here, a little name plaque. I might add a little name plaque here, and then you've got your handles there. So that's just a basic construction of kind of how this all goes together. So many different ways to use these straps, guys. Maybe I might come back and do another video at some point showing you another way of using those straps. But this is available now, direct from Tonic Studios. So if you head on over to the website, you'll be able to put this and the papers into your basket. And I just want to say thank you very much for joining me today, albeit a little frustrating there with my silly magnets. But it's been a pleasure to have your company, and I look forward to crafting again with you soon. Take care, guys. Bye.